welcome to another edition of Oz Mining. I did a little teaser a couple of weeks ago with a YouTube short just showing how I'm going to be maximizing my 3 kilowatts I'm getting via my solar panel array, and I'm going to be mining for 100% profit during sunlight hours where my power into the GPU mining farm will be 100% free. And what I need to do with that is to find a way that I can manage my rigs, switch them on and off, and manage them when the sun is shining. So the solution I have, I'm just going to walk through very quickly, and then what I'll do is I'll do a separate video on how I'm actually going to set it up and the specific wiring and then the scheduling. Now, the reason that I need to look at these devices, this is a SHELLY 1 Plus, which is then going to allow me to remotely Wi-Fi and set up scheduling to switch my rigs on, is because the big flaw and the way we manage our rigs on Hive OS is the scheduling in Hive OS can do literally anything we want to apart from switch rigs on, because once the Mobo is switched off and it's not just doing a restart and a reset, the motherboard is switched off. Hive OS has got no inputs to fire it back up again. I think there are some fancy other ways with networking that you can restart a motherboard through some other methods. It looks very complicated. That's not for me. I'm going to be setting this up through, I guess, a reasonably tried and trusted method that I think I've seen Chump Change do this a couple of years ago, and for me right now, this is absolutely going to be the winning formula. So just to show you my kit very quickly, so I've got a SHELLY 1 Plus, and I'm going to be combining that with so I'll use a server PSU, and I'll talk through that in a minute why I need to use a server PSU to put the power into this SHELLY device here. I'm then going to be using a breakout board 6-pin connector power cable, and if you look at this diagram here, which you can get on the internet, I'll put a link down below where you can get this. I'm going to be using, essentially from the 6-pin, these 2 power outputs here from the breakout board. So I'll be plugging my lead into the breakout board. I'll be using this here, the ground and the plus 12 volt. So I'll be using the end here to go into, if I show you here, I'll do it very quickly. I'll be using this, let's get that in there. I'll be using that into the breakout board. Then I'm going to be taking the 2 cables, and look, that is the 8-pin cable there. So I'll be using this. I'll be using the 2 here on the end, and I will be then adding these connectors here that I've got on eBay. Again, I'll put the link for this on eBay. These, what are these called? Terminal assortments. So I'm using the very smallest ones here, which is the white ones, and I'm going to be cutting off the end of this here on the 2 wires that I just showed you over here. And I'll be then using this little fancy device that came with the kit that I got on eBay, and I'll be putting these 2 end terminals on. With those 2 end terminals, that will then be going into this SHELLY device here. Let me just get the shadow out of the way. That'll be then going into this SHELLY device here. Let me zoom in a little bit. That'll be going into here. I'll show the specific 2 points that will be pushing into on my next video. I'll wire this up with you, walk you through every single step. That'll be going into here to power it up. Then on the out, which is what it's going to be doing the switching for me, then I'm going to be taking this motherboard on and off switch. So there's the on and off switch there. You can see here, on and off switch. And on the other end, that's the bit that goes into the motherboard. You can see that power switch. So I am going to be then removing this end switch, and I'm going to be putting 2 more of these little, oh, they're so small, 2 more of these end terminals onto each end of here. And then that's going to be going into this end here, which is doing the switching then kind of thing. So with the power coming out of the server PSU breakout board into the SHELLY 1 Plus, that's going to power it up. I can then use my Wi-Fi connections, and using my phone, I can either switch it on and off whenever I want, or I can use a scheduling, which will switch it off on and off at a certain day. Specifically, I'm going to be using this to switch it on at a set time every day, which is basically going to coincide with when the sun's rising. This will then go using my modified switch cable here into the motherboard and switch on mining rig. So I'm going to quickly jump over to Hive OS and show you how I'm going to be combining this with Hive OS. and I'll show, I guess, the limitation in Hive OS and how this will basically plug the gap and make it a complete solution. And then we'll just jump down into the mining garage and I'll show you which rig I'm going to be doing it on and get that up and running in the next couple of days. So let's just go across to Hive OS right now. Okay, so we're now into Hive OS, the desktop view. And I've got a few rigs up and running here, and I'm going to pick a rig here that I have done some scheduling on before. I'm currently mining DYNEX with this. This is a 10 card gigabyte 3070 gaming OC rig, so all the cards are identical. As I said on previous videos, I really like having rigs that have all the same cards, really easy for overclocking. I find stability is amazing, opposed to having different types of cards like 3060 Ti's or 40 series cards, and or having like an Asus or a Gigabyte and an MSI. Having all the same GPUs I find really good for stability. So here's my rig here, and if I just go back out to the main farm view, you'll see here I have a schedule set. So if I go into schedules, here's some schedules that I've tried before. This is actually mining Casper, but it will. I'll just do the few tweaks to show you what I'm going to be doing. But this is a schedule that I set up a little while ago where I was mining Casper, and if I go in to do editing, like the schedulings are actually really good. The basic principle is on each rig that you want to do a schedule on, you've got to put a tag in there. The thing with tagging, if you want to do multiple rigs at the same time, you can actually then tag multiple rigs and do it that way. I just generally tend to do a schedule for each rig I have, and the way I do this, so if I go back and show you very quickly, let's go back into that rig that we were looking at here, and you'll see, I think in settings it is, I've got a tag that I called it Ergo Day Mining. Okay, so let's go back to the overview and go to schedules, and here in my Ergo Day Mining, I set this schedule up. And basically you put in your tag, so it pulls in that rig. You then bring in the associated flight sheet that you want to run, and so that one was actually Casper at that time. You can also bring in your overclocking template as well to get that set up. So there's all that flexibility there, and there's actually lots of good videos on YouTube to show you how to do detailed setting of your schedules. I will also do another detailed video on mine once I get this new solution set up, and I'll run you through exactly how I set up the schedule for the rig I'm going to be doing, and then if you guys want to copy that, brilliant. And then the good thing about the Hive OS schedules, you have all these run commands. So you can do things like reboot, shutdown, you can do upgrades, so you can upgrade the software, the latest version of Hive OS, which is really good. There are lots of other commands there which to be honest, don't even know what they do, but the basic ones there you can kind of understand, you know, reboot, shutdown, and things like that. And then some other ones here is like with the miner, you can do things like restart, stop. So restart and stop are the two key ones. Now, I tested out running a rig and stopping it when you know, the sun went down and my solar panels went offline. The problem is, and particularly running an efficient algorithm like DYNEX or Casper, you know, those GPUs are pulling anywhere between, let's say, 60 and 80 watts per GPU, running an RTX 3070. If I put it on to stop mining, it actually puts it on, it just, you know, things just keep, like the rig's still running, GPUs are still like running whilst they're not mining, but it was still drawing like around 40 watts. So if compared to, say, I was running a high power algorithm, let's say Meowcoin, or I'm just trying to think the one on Kapow algorithm, the ones that use like a lot of, actually let's just have a really quick look now. So if we go to do it live with you guys, so if we go to hashrate.io and we go to an RTX 3070, if you look at the ones that are the highest profit at the moment, they're all pretty high power algorithms. So you can see here, like, let's go to a clean, so I've got this revenue. So Claw, Conflux, like 172 watts. Let's go down a little bit. Meowcoin, there you go, 150 watts. Next 165 watts. Conflux 140 watts. See here, this thing, DYNEX 94 watts. So again on Kapow 150 watts. So if you're running high wattage algorithms, you probably will get some decent benefit. It will probably go down at least half, if not probably more like 60 to 70% on your usage if you put the rig onto stop as opposed to shut down. However, running the lower wattage algorithms like DYNEX,
Casper, even like flux here is 149 watts, but there are actually settings where you can get the flux down on the wattage, a bit more efficient settings. That's the one I think about is Ravencoin. Yeah, so Ravencoin, high wattage. Anyway, so back to I guess my problem is I found if I was running something like DYNEX, which I am at the moment, I'm finding DYNEX is a really good coin to mine for me, profitability wise. If I stop it, it doesn't actually save me much watts, and the rig's still running overnight and chewing a lot of power that I'm not actually generating any profitability from. So if I then went to miner actually shut down, great, shut down the rig. However, the big flaw in Hive OS is there's no way to actually start your rig again. Hence, well, I'm going to bring in the 360 solution with these Wi-Fi switches, the SHELLY 1 Pluses. So what I can do is I can use Hive OS to shut down my rigs every night. The reason I specifically want to shut down using Hive OS versus shutting down versus using the SHELLY 1 Plus is doing a shutdown in Hive OS is more of a smoother system generated shutdown, and it's not just going to slam my GPUs off, straight away. It's going to be more of a planned shutdown, and Hive OS, I guess, will know what's happening as opposed to just shutting it down with a touch of a button. What I'm then going to do is it will shut down at a scheduled time, and I'll use the SHELLY 1 Plus is then to turn the rig on every morning. So I'll combine the best bits of Hive OS with the best bits of using a Wi-Fi switch device like the SHELLYs. So I hope that makes sense. And again, down here you can set your schedules. What I'll do is once I actually get this up and running, I'll show you my specific schedule and how I'm going to then run it. So let's just pop down to the mining garage very quickly, and I'll show you the rig I'm going to be using and just go around the wiring that's going to be in play. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Okay, Dream Team, we're down in the mining garage now, and I'm just going to quickly just show you what I've talked to you up in my mining office, what's going to happen in the mining garage here. So this is the rig I'm going to be using. This is this 10 card gigabyte RTX 3070 rig, which is currently mining DYNEX. And to be fair, a pretty decent profit at the moment. I'm really liking the DYNEX algorithm, both for efficiency and the reasonable profit that I'm able to generate at the moment, given the overall market. So the way this is going to be working, as I talked about earlier, I'm going to be modifying this power cable from the server PSU I have up here. Now, why am I using the server PSU versus using the ATX PSU? And here's another key thing here. When you shut down the mining rig, the ATX PSU will actually shut down as well. So I won't be able to have any ongoing power to then power the switch. However, the server PSUs will actually stay on. They won't be drawing any power, but they will be on. So that's why I'm going to be connecting this power cable from the server PSUs, which will be kind of dormant but on standby. When it gets the trigger from my scheduling device on my phone to fire up the switch in the SHELLY 1 Plus, this cable will power up coming from the server PSU. It will come into the SHELLY, and then with my modified switch output here, it's going to say, please switch on my mining rig, and then this will be into my motherboard, and it will switch on the motherboard and then fire up the ATX PSU, which is also going to be then firing up the rest of the rig. And basically that's it. And then what will be happening every evening when the sun goes down, Hive OS will be doing the soft shutdown. So again, I'm not going to do a hard switch off. I'm going to let Hive OS shut down my rig, and it will just be more of an organized shutdown that's happening through the system, which I think will be a little bit kinder on the GPUs, as opposed to like just slamming them on and off every day. So that's it basically. What I'll do next is, over the weekend, is I will wire this up. I'll do a little bit of a tutorial with the camera above my desk, and I'll wire this up with you, show it how it all works. And then we'll come back, we'll plug the switch into the server PSU. Hopefully it will stretch enough to get down to, you see here, I have the current switch on that motherboard, so that will replace this switch I have here. And yeah, we'll get it scheduled up. I'll walk you through the schedule on Hive OS. I'll show the app on my phone, and yeah, bombs away. Hopefully we will be then getting to the point which I talked about in my teaser that I did on a YouTube short for the channel, is basically I'm going to be mining when the sun's shining, using my 20 plus kilowatts of free solar energy, and mining for 100% profit. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that all made sense. Send me any questions you have about this, or if you're doing anything similar, I would love to know. And let's do this thing. Chat soon. Thanks for watching, guys.